at the age of 12, most kids are going to be more worried about playing video games, hanging out with their friends, and just doing kid stuff. But for me, I was going down a dark path. I'd already been smoking weed, drinking alcohol, and then I was getting into harder drugs at a very young age. Drugs and alcohol weren't just like a phase for me at this time. For me, it was like it was my escape from reality because my reality at home wasn't the greatest. I grew up in a family with addicts. It had been some time, and I was angry at life, and I was just kind of lost, and that was what I went to. But luckily, a lot changed because when I got into seventh grade, our middle school had a weight training program. And I remember I used to smoke weed on the bus, show up to school, and then I made some friends on the football team because I was kind of the new kid still. And we started lifting weights a little bit in the mornings before school. And then we would, one of our classes every other term or something in middle school, we had a weight training class. And that's really when it all changed. And I was still struggling with this stuff through middle school, 13 years old. But I was lifting weights. And the more I lifted weights and the more I saw people lifting weights that were stronger than me and bigger than me, and the muscle I was putting on and the strength I was putting on, the more that became my addiction. When I was in that weight room, I wasn't thinking about anything else in my life. No, none of my problems. I was just thinking about how can I lift more weights? How can I get bigger? How can I get stronger? And that is really the kind of like that right there is what pulled me out of that dark place and really guided me to where I'm at in my life now. And the gym really became like my safe place. My freshman year, going into my freshman year, I was 14. My mom had broke her foot, and I had to drive her around in her vehicle. So I didn't have my permit yet or anything. And that lasted for a little while, and then she was able to drive again. But then I was able to get into an early bird weight training program my freshman year in high school. And there was no other freshman that had done this. It was me and a buddy of mine. And I told my mom, was like, hey, I'm going to keep driving the car to school because I want to go to early bird weight training class. So I was living and breathing weight training. I would have my early bird weight training class. I'd have to get up like 6 a.m., get to school, do that. And then I'd have my normal weight training class. And then, most of the year I'd have my sports after school as well. So like I was just living and breathing, trying to be as physically fit as I possibly could. And there were several times, going through my freshman year even into like daily doubles. And a buddy of mine one of my best friends called me out because I was doing some pretty hard stuff. And he's like, bro, I can literally see it on you. And that was when the last time I touched it, and everything kind of changed. I wasn't smoking weed anymore, and I just went full blown fucking meathead. Basically, I was like, let's get as big and strong as we can. What I didn't realize at the time was lifting weights and becoming physically fit and all that. That's really where I learned how to, battle my addictive personality, because this became my addiction, but it also taught me a lot of really important life lessons. First and foremost is just discipline. I was learning to show up on the days I didn't want to. I didn't want to get up at 6 a.m., on my school days, 5 days a week to go to the gym, but I wanted the results and I wanted to see where I could go with it. So I did it even when I didn't want. It taught me self-control. It taught me that I might not be able to control all the shit that's going on around me in the world, but I can control what I'm doing in that weight room. I can control the weights I'm putting on that bar. I can control everything about my fitness because that is what you do. You control every aspect of it, the weights, the nutrition, everything, your effort, your discipline. Biggest thing it taught me was confidence, just because I was in there working out, seeing the results, getting big, feeling good about myself. It boosted my self-esteem. I went from being this skinny little kid to this pretty, yoked out kid in high school. And we had a crazy weight training coach. We had a crazy weight training program. And so like everybody I surrounded myself with, we were all on that same level. And to have that confidence, at a young age has really transferred it. Like I feel like I can do anything in this world because if I could go back to that time and I was starting from nothing, and especially in the weight room, and to see where I've gotten to now and I've continued with it, it's like I can do anything I put my. So I was building the foundation, that has kept me mostly on the straight and narrow. Like I still dabble here and there. I still get pulled to that dark side, even to this day. But every time I've hit rock bottom, every time I've done some stupid shit and gone to the dark side, the weights always bring me back and keep me on track. And really, ultimately, that's what's kept me where I'm at to where I'm or gotten me to where I'm at. Here we are 20 years later. And if I did not have weights in my life, I would probably either be dead or in prison right now. If you're one of those guys out there that's struggling, you got stress, you got bad habits, you got addictions, whatever it is, you got to find your positive escape. And for me, that was the gym. And for so many people, it is the gym because it just the endorphins you release, the results you see, the discipline you learn, they're all just these key foundational, things that you need to learn in your life to really build you into the person you want to be. And first and foremost, you just got to commit to being consistent. It doesn't mean you got to go 6 days a week, 7 days a week, but you need to consistently have a schedule. Be like, hey, all right, I'm going to hit it 3 days a week this week or this month or for the next 6 months. And then you can try to build from there. Make sure you're just being consistent with whatever you're doing. And over time, that discipline will turn into so much more. It'll turn into this confidence. And once you get this confidence and this discipline, then it all just kind of keeps you on track, going down a much better path than whatever you're going down with all the shit you're battling in your life and not dealing with it in like a healthy way. It's so easy to just stay in that same vicious cycle without changing anything. So when you start going to the gym and you physically see changes in your body, it's much easier to change your lifestyle, change your habits, because you have physical proof of the effort that you're putting in is actually working. And the reality is, I probably shouldn't even be here today. At the path I was going down at 12 years old is a path that would destroy most people. And if I would have never picked up those weights, if I would have never gotten in that weight room, that's the path I would have gone down. And so I'll repeat this. If you are struggling in any way, shape, or form, there is a way to break out of it. There is a way to start new. And I'm telling you right now, getting in charge of your fitness, taking control of your life in that aspect is the surefire way to ensure that you have a much higher chance of changing your everything about yourself and leading yourself down a much better path. So we'll end it there. If you want more fitness, more mindset, whatever it is, subscribe to this channel. I'm going to be dropping stuff. And if you're ready to really turn your life around, you can hit that calendar link in my bio and book that one-on-one call, and we will turn you into a new man.